Hi, hello and welcome to Journey Towards Wealth. This is the last video in the series of how to save for your retirement. Here we are going to understand about debts and how to clear your debts or why it is important to get rid of debts so that you can save better and invest better for your retirement. For this, first thing you need to understand is the difference between a good debt and a bad debt. Good debt is any debt or any loan that you have taken which will help you to create wealth or to build wealth or create income over a period of time. Classic example for this is your mortgages or your housing loan. Then another example you can say is your business loan, where you're trying to build equity in an asset which will grow over a period of time. Then we need to understand what a bad debt is. Bad debt is a debt or a loan that you are taking to finance for things that you can consume. Classic example for this is your credit card. Again, for the credit cards, your interest payment is much higher than a normal loan. So you are trying to buy something which is not adding value, but it is just used for your consumption. So basically, what we need to try and do is we have to try and clear our bad debts at the earliest possible time. And for your good debts, which are your mortgages or business loan, they can be actually for a longer period, maybe 20 years or 25 years it will be running. But again, those are to build an asset and it is just fine to continue with those mortgages. Now going further into how to pay off your debts. Basically, there are two methods which are followed for paying off your debt. First is the debt snowball. This is basically we are repaying the smallest debt first, then the next largest, and so on. Here the basic idea is to pay off the debts from the smallest one to the largest. What you need to do is you need to first list down the balances of each of the debt and you should start with the smallest one. Also, you should ensure that you're making the minimum payments for all other debts and whatever extra cash will be paid off for the smallest balance till it is fully paid off. This strategy will be repeated with each of your debts until you're paying off the smallest amounts. The beauty of this method is you will see a progress, and that progress will encourage you to keep on tracking your debts and see it vanishing over a period of time. Also, as you pay off the debt, you can see that you are freeing up more money for the next debt. The next method is called the debt avalanche method. In this method, your focus is on paying off the highest interest loan first, and then you will move on to the second highest interest, and so on. The beauty of this method is you're concentrating on paying off the highest interest debt and then the second highest, and so on. And here again you have to make a list of all your loan with the highest interest rate first, then the second highest, and so on. This will ensure that you have a plan for paying off your debt. This type of debt repayment is suitable for somebody who has high interest rate debts and who would like to reduce the interest rate payment over a period of time. So this will ensure that you're paying off the highest interest rate and you're freeing up that amount, and this can be used for the payment of the second highest interest rate debt, and so on. Once you start paying off the highest interest rate debt, you will be motivated to further continue the process to get out of your debt quickly. Again, in this method also, you should ensure that you are paying the minimum balance for all other debts so that you don't accumulate other debts over a period of time. Now, having gone through the various methods of the repayment of loan and as well as the difference between a good and a bad debt, we need to understand how this works out on an individual basis or how we will apply it based on the situation. Now, let's take an example of a business loan. For a business loan, the beauty about a business loan is it is for improving your business or to get a funding or a loan for an idea that you are very confident about. So if that business is able to get you a good profit, then the loan would be considered as a good loan, good debt, because you are able to bring in more money than your interest on your loan. But if the business is not able to come up to your expectation or the returns are not in accordance with your expectation, then it becomes a risky debt. Why is it a risky debt? Because you do not know whether that kind of income would ever come. You had come with an expectation of getting a 20% return or a 25% return. But now, once you started the business, you started realizing that it is not able to come up to the level you were expecting. Then it becomes a risky debt. And the third is, nothing is working as per the plans, and your business is not able to get you even enough return to pay off your loan. Your returns from the business are lesser than your loan. Then it becomes a bad debt. So it becomes very important for you to understand these situations according to your individual case. Now let's see this in detail. Now let's try and understand the good debt, risky debt and bad debt for a business loan based on an example. In this case, we are looking at a business loan of around 1 lakh rupees, and you are expecting 25% profit, which is around 25,000, and an interest you are going to pay is around 10,000, which is 10% of your loan amount. In this case, it is a good debt. Why? Because the amount that you're getting as profit is more than double of the interest repayment. In that case, you don't need to worry about anything because your business is making more than double the amount of the interest that you're paying off. Now comes the second case where you're expecting a profit of 25%, but actually you're making only 12% profit, out of which almost 10,000 rupees has to go towards the interest. In that case, it becomes a risky debt. Why? Because you're not in a clear-cut, comfortable position, because in case your profit from the business actually comes down, then you will not be able to cover even your interest rate of the loan. So this is a kind of a risky debt. Next comes a bad debt. Bad debt is when you're not even able to make a profit which is equivalent to the interest rate. Your profits are lesser than the actual interest rate that you need to repay. This is actually going against the principle that this debt is not even helping you to increase your wealth or create a business which is able to make money over a period of time. So in that case, what you have to try and do is you have to try and clear the debt at the earliest. Now, having gone through how to differentiate your good debt, your bad debt and your risky debt based on your business loan, we come to the next big loan that people take, which is a car loan. In the case of car loan, what happens is most people assume car is an asset. But actually, is car an asset? No. Car is a depreciating asset. And the moment your car leaves its showroom, the value of your car starts coming down. So in no way car is an asset, or it doesn't add to the actual definition of an asset whose value goes up over time. So car is a liability according to me, or a depreciating asset. Now comes the question, when does the car debt become a bad debt, or does it actually become a bad debt? If you're buying a car just for the purpose of moving from one place to another, you buy a basic car because you don't have an option of private transport and you need the car. In that case, it can be considered as a not a good debt, but it's an okay debt. But the moment that this definition changes and you buy a premium car, I mean, today you can see on social media people announcing buying new cars, which triggers it in others. Okay, if they can buy, why not me? That kind of things happen today in social media. And most people buy because of peer pressure. Most people that we see buy the premium cars on peer pressure. Okay, let's move that aside. Now you have bought a premium car with a loan of around 70% of the amount coming as the loan. You have a huge repayment on your premium car. In that case, that car loan is a bad debt. Why? Because you're paying a very high interest on your car loan. Car loan today may be at 8 to 10% interest, and you are buying an asset whose value is actually coming down. So it is a consuming thing. It is something that is for use, and it is not something which is able to create wealth. So that's a bad debt. Now, the best way is to avoid that debt, that not to buy a car on a loan. you have liquid cash, you buy a card, it is fine. But you buy it on loan, the first thing you can do is to avoid buying. What is the next best thing? Next best thing you can do is to tackle it on a urgent basis. For that, again, you can use the debt avalanche method, where you are actually trying and paying off that high interest loan and you are clearing off your debt. Now the problem is, when you have too many loans running, you will have a car loan, you have a credit card payment, you have a personal loan, you have a business loan, you have a mortgage loan. When you have so many loans running parallelly, what do you actually clear off? In what order can you clear off? High interest payment, there you have to first clear off your credit cards, then you have to pay off your personal loans, then comes your car loans, and then comes a bad debt as business loan. So once you clear all these loans on a war foot basis, when are you planning to even save and invest? That is the reason your debts have to be avoided or have to be kept in control, because otherwise you will never be able to save and invest your money. Now comes the next biggest debt for most people, which is your mortgage payment or your EMI for your housing. That, again, according to me, is not a bad debt. Why? Because it is a necessity and everybody needs their own place to stay. So your house for your stay is not a bad debt, provided you are not buying a house much beyond your requirement or your need. I mean, if you're a small family having 3 to 4 members, you need a 2 bedroom or a maximum 3 bedroom. But what happens today is, most people get carried away by others saying, "Oh, we are planning to buy a 5 bedroom. We are buying in a 4 bedroom, which has all the latest facilities. The condominium offers us, or we are planning for a villa." It is fine to buy that, but if you have at least a major chunk of money for the down payment. If you do not have that kind of money, it is best to avoid and go for the basic needed for you. Why? Because when you take a housing loan at a young age, maybe in your 30s and 40s, you are blocking that kind of money from investing and making you returns. I have heard people saying that it is difficult to stay in a rental apartment. We are paying rent unnecessarily. Agreed. But believe me, if the money that you're paying as your EMI is used for accumulating your investment over that initial years of your life, the compounding will do wonders for you over the next couple of years. So I wouldn't say it is very wise idea to invest in your house beyond your requirement, just because you want to show the world that you are rich, you're wealthy, you have enough money. And on top of buying an expensive house, people go on to the extent of doing an expensive interior designing. This is all the show off that you're doing for the society. This is not for improving your own situation. I have seen many families staying in huge houses where the family is still worried about the huge EMI. They are worried about what happens if they lose their job. What happens if something bad happens? What happens if the housing market crash? They are always in uncertainty. But if you had done that investment wisely in any other instrument which would have actually beaten inflation, then in your 40s or 50s, you would have enough money to actually buy your own space according to your requirement. So it is best that you avoid buying a big ticket item like a house in your 20s. That is the age where you actually need to accumulate money and invest money for the next umpteen number of years ahead. Then the best time, I would say, for a house is when you know where you're going to be settled, what are you going to do. At that stage, you need to have a house, maybe around your 40s, your 50s. that is the best stage. By then you would have accumulated enough money. You would have actually done your investments wisely. You have done your mutual funds, your small cases, or your direct stock investment if you're comfortable with that. Whatever be it, you would have done that, and we would have accumulated the money, and then you would have bought your own property according to your requirement at that point of time. Again, with each age your requirement changes. Then there are other loans like the personal loans, the bridge loans, which are all actually taken for some emergency or some situation, and which needs to be paid within a short period of time. Again, all these loans are helpful for you provided you use it wisely and judiciously and ensure that the repayment happens on time. The last of the loan, or the most difficult one, is your credit card, if not used judiciously and wisely. What happens is, credit card usually gives you a time frame, maybe a 30 or 35 days, 30 to 45 days window, within which you get an interest free loan or debt. But after that period, then you will have to pay a much higher interest rate. Sometimes they charge annual interest rate of 18%, 24%, 36%, depending upon the bank from which you take it. And once you reach to that level of interest payment, then credit card actually can be a disaster for your financial life. So what happens is, the people do not understand the difference between that interest free period for credit card and the period beyond that, and they actually use it like every other credit. And what happens is, your loan amount accumulates over a period of time. So it is important for you to understand how credit card works and use the instrument wisely so that you can get the benefit of it. If you do not have the money to make the repayment within the stipulated time, it is the best that you avoid using a credit card, because mostly credit cards are used for your consumption or buying something for your consumption or your use. So it is not a good debt in a way that it is not helping you to create an asset or create wealth over a period of time. In that case, it is best suited to avoid credit card debts if you do not know how to manage a credit card. Having gone through a couple of major goals or major debts that people take, the next important debt is your educational loan. Educational loan is a loan where you are actually taking the loan for improving your earning capacity after a period of time. So in that sense, it is a good debt, and it is fine to take an educational loan for higher education. Again, you should try and repay the amount at the earliest so that it doesn't become an hindrance for you for your future savings and investments. Another loan which people generally take is the personal loan. Personal loan is something that people take for some emergency or some situation where you are in urgent need of money. Personal loan cannot be avoided if it is for some emergency, but it can be avoided if it is for something like a purchase, to purchase some appliances. Or there are many people who take personal loan to purchase some appliances like refrigerator, television, washing machine. In that case, it is better to avoid that purchase or to postpone the purchase till you have enough cash to make the payment, rather than taking an expensive loan and making the purchase. Again, if it is meant for purchasing your appliances or things like that, it again comes in the category of bad debt, and if possible, it can be avoided. By now, having gone through the various ways of identifying your good debt, bad debt, and the risky debt, you would have got a clear idea how to understand whether your debt is a risky debt or a bad debt or a good debt. And also, you know the methods of the repayment in case you feel you have heavily in debt and it's important for you to repay the debt. You can go according to your method, whether you want to do a debt snowball or a debt avalanche method. Debt snowball is basically a psychological method. Basically, each loan that you reduce, you feel psychologically happy about it. But whereas the debt avalanche method is where you're trying and reducing your debt with a more logical manner, because you're trying to reduce the debts with the highest interest rate, and which will help you in paying a lesser amount or lesser interest towards your loan. So based on your own individual situation and whatever fits you, you can choose this methods and also understand good debt, bad debt, and make your repayment and clear your debts at the earliest. We have gone through all the various aspects of how to save for retirement. We have almost covered all the important points that you need to keep in mind for the process needed to save, how to save for your retirement. You can go through the previous videos that has been uploaded and understand each of it and follow through in your life if you are really interested to have a healthy retirement corpus for your retirement. Each of this point is important for you to achieve your savings for your retirement. You cannot ignore one for the other. Hence, you need to actually understand the significance of each of it so that you do not ignore one and you will be in a situation where you haven't reached into a healthy retirement corpus for a successful retirement. Now, having gone through the various aspects of how to save for your retirement, now you would have had a fair idea on the areas that you need to focus on and save for your retirement. Again, the biggest obstacle for all this is the mindset, the attitude that you have towards savings. Most people believe that it cannot be done, it cannot be achieved. That is the main reason people are not able to save and invest for their retirement. With an open mindset, with an acceptance that you can actually save for your retirement, if you go through these series of videos, I'm sure you will be able to reach your savings for your retirement and have a very healthy corpus required for your retirement. Thank you once again for all your support. If you find these videos helpful, please like, share and subscribe to this channel.